We have a TV6 Investigates follow-up tonight. We're taking a look at the importance of having AEDs in Upper Michigan schools and the process it takes for districts to get them. Last night, our national investigative team told you how automated external defibrillators can mean the difference between life or death when someone's heart stops beating. Cardiac arrest is the top cause of death for student athletes across the country.
Now, it is now required in Michigan to have access to AEDs in schools. I looked into the process it takes to get AEDs and found a first-hand encounter that shows how just one device can keep someone alive.
Begin by removing all clothing from the patient's chest.
We want to make sure that we're equipped to do what we can.
For Munising Middle High School principal Nicole Lassak, it's an ever-present risk, and not only in her hallways, one that she says can't have enough support.
We have one in the middle high school building, one at the elementary building, one at our football field, and then we also have a portable unit that we can take to different locations.
AEDs, a life-saving tool that, according to the American Heart Association, saves 9 out of 10 cardiac arrest victims who are able to get a shock from one within the first minute of collapsing. Lassak is also the school's athletic director, a front-row seat, she says, to the need in rural Upper Michigan.
Response time isn't always as quick as you may have wanted to be. This can be instant.
Here at the school, that need for AEDs became apparent in more ways than one and close to home. She says a gentleman visiting a sporting event here at the gym came out here to the parking lot when the worst happened. He suffered a medical event which needed an AED.
January 31st of this year at Munising High School, we had a gentleman leave a wrestling match in Munising, and he went down in the parking lot.
Alger County Sheriff Todd Brock says what happened next had to happen quickly. A nurse helping with the wrestling meet ran to this unit just inside the school.
Pulseless, no heartbeat, not breathing. CPR was started right away by bystanders. The school personnel on duty at that event brought out a defibrillator. He was effectively shocked, and he's still happily living with us in the UP right now, alive because of that early defibrillation and that early CPR.
But it wasn't always this way in schools like Munising. While Lassak says her school district has had multiple units for the last several years, with the most recent being a portable unit for away events, getting them wasn't easy.
They are expensive, they're not cheap units, and there's not necessarily direct funding for them. We've written some grants that are there for schools to be able to get them.
A task both Lassak and Sheriff Brock say the school liaison officer also helped with.
They went out on their own, applied for these grants. I believe it was through the state. We helped a little bit in the selection of the defibrillators, what would be a good defibrillator to buy and put in schools. And it's just been a great partnership.
AEDs can cost anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000. And until about 4 months ago, they were not even legally required to be in every Michigan school. That changed. Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed the requirement into law, along with 2 House bills to reinforce the need. Sheriff Brock says the legislation, combined with what happened in that parking lot, serve as an AED testament.
That's huge. When we take a call like that, our 911 dispatcher takes that call. We dispatch our EMS, our paramedic service, and that's the first thing they're going to ask: is there a defibrillator on scene? Has CPR been started? So as they're arriving to that scene and they know a defibrillator's already been brought to the scene, it brings that percentage of saving that person up greatly.
Sheriff Brock says AEDs make it easy for anyone to use them in an emergency.
They are designed for the layperson or somebody that is not a paramedic or an EMT or a police officer or firefighter to, when in need, grab it and go and attach it.
When patient's chest is bare, remove protective cover.
Ultimately, Lassak says the strengthened requirements go a new distance in protecting not only our kids, but those supporting them.
School funding is always difficult, and schools are always trying to do their best to provide for their students as much as they can.
Now, Sheriff Brock says the county emergency manager routinely trains the sheriff's office staff on how to effectively use AEDs. Lassak says school staff trained just last week for both CPR and AED use. She says her school also updates their emergency action plans for all athletic teams through MHSAA, including who is going to go get an AED in an emergency and having teams practice that 3 times a season.